Okay, so I think we can begin. Okay, so I
I
think we can
believe that
begin.
education holds the key to a bright future, not only in transforming lives, but in helping communities to see their power to shape the world. Muktangan
Okay,
stands at
so
the
I think we can
forefront that
begin.
education we have dedicated ourselves to a bright future, the true potential not only in transforming every child, teacher, but in helping communities to see their power to at the heart of this our educational journey. Muktangan stands at the possibility education we have dedicated ourselves to a harmonious connection not only in transforming every child, but in helping communities to see their power.
Over the years,
At
we
the
have
heart
developed
of this our
integrated
educational
teacher
journey.
Okay, so I
Every year, thousands of children thrive, benefiting from holistic learning experiences. Our commitment to excellence is evident in the impressive school pass percentage, averaging at an astounding 99% over 10 years of SSC examinations. The impact continues even after school, with 98% of our alumni pursuing higher education and becoming productive contributors to society. We try to achieve harmony with global goals and national policy. A significant number of points mandated in policy documents like the NEP 2020 have already been pioneered, adopted, and illustrated in the Muktangan model.
Our impact extends beyond our classrooms. Through our outreach project, we have developed a strong partnership with the BMC and VSNGO and academic organizations.
As an Upasna teacher, when I first I get to work with school, teach them our foundation, literacy and numeracy skills. When I started taking videos, passes are fine. But later on, when I took the activities of literacy and numeracy, parents participated in the activity and they understood the importance of education in their child.
As we gaze upon the future, let us forge ahead, hand in hand. Join us on this extraordinary journey as we continue to make a difference. Every child, every teacher, and every parent has a role to play. Let's unlock boundless potentials and create a world where education knows no boundaries. Fostering this engagement is not just a choice, it is an imperative if we seek to kindle flames of transformation.
We invite you to join hands with us to grow and spread our experiences and learnings with other communities and partner organizations. Your support will enable thousands of other children to realize their fullest potential. Thank you for your support.
Hello, everyone. A warm welcome to one and all. Thank you so much for joining us today as we dive into an incredibly important topic towards achieving school excellence. In recent years, this concept has become a central focus in education, with countless organizations partnering with local and regional governments, as well as with other institutions to drive meaningful, lasting change. Despite significant strides in school enrollment, creating inclusive, equitable, and future-ready education systems for diverse learners remains a challenge. While the National Education Policy 2020 provides transformative opportunities, we all know that achieving truly impactful and sustainable change requires a collective effort from every corner of our society. In this three-part webinar series, we will explore key aspects of school transformation and how they collectively contribute to creating holistic and sustainable improvements in our education system. So here on the screen, we have today's schedule or the agenda for today. So as you all can see, so before we begin further, I would like to share some rules. for you all. I request you all to stay on mute at all times. Please do keep your videos for it enhance connectivity amongst us. So kindly share your suggestions and feedbacks in that chat box. We will address them during the last 15 minutes of the open forum. Request you to stay with us for the entire session to make the most of this experience. Your feedback is valuable for us. So please wait with us till the end and help us with your feedback to improve our sessions for future. So thank you. Now, without much ado, let's begin with the first part of achieving school excellence, which is leadership. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce our esteemed speakers, our esteemed panel of speakers who bring a wealth of experience and insight to today's session. Our first speaker, Ms. Elizabeth Mehta. A warm welcome to you, ma'am. Ms. Elizabeth Mehta, an esteemed educationist with over 5 decades of experience, has significantly contributed to education in India through teaching, curriculum development, and management. She served as project director for the Aga Khan Education Services in India's School Improvement Program for 11 years. As founder director of Muktangan, she oversees 7 schools and the Teacher Education Institute. She was also invited to offer inputs on the National Education Policy (NEP) in 2020. She was honored with the title Member of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire during the Queen's Birthday Honours in 2015 for her outstanding contribution in education and for setting up Muktangan Schools Network. A warm welcome to you, ma'am. Our next speaker is Ms. Upasna Sachdeva. Ms. Upasna, a seasoned professional with 16 years of expertise, is a senior program manager at Peepul, driving education reforms in Madhya Pradesh, including CM Rise Schools Transformation and Digital Literacy programs. She partners with the state leadership to enhance the effectiveness of the education system. Previously, she was a senior curriculum designer at Mastery Learning, creating innovative curricula for adolescents. Stating her career in investment banking, she was director of capital markets at Standard Chartered Bank. Upasna ma'am holds an MBA with the Faculty and Management, Delhi, and a BTech from NIT Jamshedpur. A warm welcome to you, ma'am. Thank you for joining us. Our next speaker is Ms. Monal Jayaram, co-founder and director of the School of Education and Systems Change, Piramal School of Leadership at the Piramal Foundation, brings 25 plus years of experience as an educator and social impact leader. She pioneered educational change initiatives on 21st century competences and social, emotional, ethical learning, project-based learning, and assessment reform. She also leads large-scale girls' education projects and global initiatives and collaborates with institutions like Harvard, Emory, and New York University. A contributor to frameworks like OECD's Learning Framework 2030, she also has co-authored several publications with national and international publishers and has been advising state and national governments to drive equitable and innovative educational systems. Ms. Monal also co-chairs the South Asian Special Interest Group at the Comparative International Education Society. Welcome, ma'am. And our final speaker, Mr. Prakash Krishnan, co-founder of Vidhai Foundation, works to reform education for underprivileged students in Tamil Nadu, inspired by his struggles with rote learning and insights from a master's in education at Azim Premji University. He empowers school leaders to create child-centric schools. Since 2017, Vidhai's initiatives like Deep have addressed systematic issues such as migration and child labor. Globally recognized, the foundation has a top 25 SDG for innovation at Unleashed Plus 2022 and won the Don Norman Design Award in 2024.
Oh.
So superb to have such experienced and esteemed speakers on our group. So now I invite Ms. Jumana Rampurawala, our Chief Program Leader, to take the discussion forward. Over to you, Jumana ma'am.
Thank you, Dhanashri, and good afternoon, everyone, and a warm welcome on from my behalf. I'm going to facilitate the webinar today, and I am a bit nervous because I have such, varied and wonderful, experienced speakers with me. So I'm a bit nervous if I falter. Please forgive me in any way. So over and let's begin with the webinar today. Leadership is a very crucial, I think, component of achieving school excellence or school transformation. And transformational leaders foster a culture of collaboration and they empower every stakeholder in the school community, which is students, teachers, parents, and the families. And as Ralph Nader has said, the function of leadership is to produce more leaders and not more followers. And I think we have four panelists, I think, who are going to talk just about that. And how do we do that in this first part of our webinar, which is we all are looking and striving for school excellence, school transformation. By promoting a shared sense of purpose and understanding real needs of key stakeholders, effective leadership can really bring about significant change and lead our schools, Indian schools, towards a better future, is what I believe. So in this webinar, the outcomes will be that we will have the four speakers talk about four different parts of leadership. We'll begin with our very own Liz Ma'am, as we call her, the founder of Muktangan, who will talk to us about the qualities of what a good leader should have, the traits and the vision, and what are the good traits of a good leader. So over to you, Liz ma'am, and looking forward to hearing what are these qualities that a good leader should possess. Liz, you'll have to unmute. Liz, unmute yourself, please. No, Liz, it's still not unmuted. Just
To speak.
Yes, now we can hear you.
Now
Yes.
you can hear me. Sorry,
Yes.
I'm not technological. Then maybe that's one of the qualities of a good leader. No, I think Shruti has made one slide for me to begin with. Shruti, is it there? Yeah.
Yes, Liz, she's presenting it.
Good. What it means to be a leader. Now, I thank you. It's given me a time to reflect on this. And when I think about leadership, I'm not talking about a designated leader. Leaders, teachers are leaders, parents can be leaders, students can be leaders. But what is it that makes a leader? And it's not being a manager, definitely. Now, I like this quotation from Plato. Many people think it's a position. The best leader is the one who does not want to be a leader, because people who want to be a leader want power, but not working towards a vision necessarily. And I think we all recognize what effective leadership is, but what are its components? Shruti, have you got the second slide, please? Yeah, and when I thought about it, I thought of three components, and don't just think of a designated leader. Passion, humility, and knowledge. So these are the three components I want to go through. First of all, Jemana said it, passion for a vision, that is a crucial. If you don't have that passion, you don't inspire others. Creates other leaders, Jemana mentioned that, to take the vision forward. Recognizes strengths in others rather than harping on weaknesses. We look for, a leader looks for the positive in others constantly, the strengths. Has the ability to create synergy and collegiality to achieve this purpose. We're still talking about passion. You must be able to create this synergy and collegiality. And I think the next point is very important. You need to be resilient because things don't always go according to plan. but you still manage to find enjoyment in pursuit of the vision. And I think that enjoyment in pursuing the vision is more important than status or salary. We're talking about visionary leadership here. And I think when you think about resilience, we often face obstacles. People don't agree with us. But I think we've got to maintain a sense of humor. And any organization has politics in it. I'm sure everyone recognizes this, where a sense of humor is essential if you're going to tackle it. And a leader is more concerned with effectiveness than efficiency. You've got to be efficient in your use of resources. That's important, but you've got to be effective in pursuing the vision. And I think this is important. You're not easily distracted from what you consider important. And this, I think, is also important. So many people, and I'm really talking about managers, are constantly getting distracted. We must do this, we must do that, going into detail. But you do need quiet spaces, time to think. You've got to be a thinker if you're going to be a leader. And once again, I want to emphasize, it may be a teacher, it may be a student, it could be anyone in school transformation. Now, I'll move on to the next part, humility. I think a true leader does not have an ego. If you have an ego, I think we all have egos, but essentially to try and overcome one's own ego. What is important is not yourself, you're not your own thoughts, but getting everybody to work, the herd to move towards the vision. You need to focus on interdependence and less on control. It's not about power. It's how we can work together, how we're all dependent on each other. And at times, a leader has got to recognize that other people have more wisdom than they have. They've got more ideas, and you've got to, at times, be a good follower. Give autonomy to others, but with accountability, of course, because others can pursue the vision in ways which you cannot do. I think you need to talk less and listen more. I know there's a long list here, but these are just my thoughts. You also need to be sensitive to the feelings and needs of others. But at times in an emergency as a leader, you need to be directive. It cannot be helped. You need to be able to communicate very well. I'm sorry, but this seems a long list of things. I like this idea. If you're a leader, when people talk to you, you ask them, how can I help? But one of the dangers of being a leader is people accept it at face value and expect you to solve their problems. And you end up with all these monkeys on your shoulders. You've got to have the capacity to get people to see that they've got to solve their own problems. I've often been caught out in that situation, problem solving of everybody. And in this context, you should be less of a solution giver. You need to support other people in providing solutions. And I feel very strongly about this. In Muktangan, we don't like the word officer. That denotes position. So we try to call everybody leaders and not officers. And even in your work, you're keen on participation and participatory forums, setting them up, hearing people's views. But at times it becomes difficult because sometimes you have to make executive decisions when the organization is expecting participatory ones. Everything cannot be a participatory decision. It's often difficult to deal with that. But whenever you make an executive decision, as far as possible, you need to be able to communicate the reasons why you're making that decision and not just say that that's my decision, accept it. So that is humility. And the third one component that I feel is important is knowledge. I always say that a leader, whoever they may be, need to have their feet on the ground and head in the sky. You're trying to reach the unreachable in pursuing the vision and supporting everybody to move towards that vision. But you've got to know what's happening at the field level and participate. And I think that is crucial. The idea of sitting in an office giving commands is not that of a leader. A leader needs a helicopter view. You need to know what's happening across your own sphere of influence, whether it's a teacher in the classroom, leader of an NGO. You need to have a helicopter view and not dive too deeply into every area. We talk about management by walking around, but I feel it's more leadership by walking around, getting into conversation with people, talking about their plans, their goals, and trying to get them to see their goals in the light of the vision of the organization. So leadership by walking around. And I think we need to appreciate the uniqueness of others. Every person is unique and can contribute in a different way. So you need to know the people well, that you need to observe them, you need to get into conversation with them and help them to see that they can all contribute to achievement of the vision. A leader also needs to have an intellect along with the power of logical thinking and be willing to invest in your own capacity building and help others get the capacity building they require. So this is a very, very brief summary of what I think makes a leader. I'm sorry it's a Adobe list, but I think all these qualities are important. So thank you, Jamana. I'd be interested in people's comments later. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. That was really short, but very, very interesting to, very minute things about a leader, which maybe a book can be written about, but you've put it in such short and concise way that passion, humility, and knowledge are the three traits that stand out. And I think that's more that we can all try. And I know for a fact, I'm sorry I'm taking this chance because Liz has finished a bit early, that she is a leader for us and in Muktangan. And believe me, she has she's our role model for these three things that she has right now said. So it's not only talk. We have all learned from her, to be passionate, to be humble, and knowledgeable. So thank you, Liz, and we'll move on to our next speaker, Miss Upasna Sachdeva, and she has a wealth of knowledge on what are the leadership processes and strategies that would be necessary or to put in place for school transformation. She's currently leading CM Rise schools in Madhya Pradesh and also PM Shri schools. Am I right, Upasna? Yes. So that and plus some 275 schools for digital and a lot more. And Peepul has already, I think she's Peepul itself, her organization has proven how the Delhi whole face of Delhi municipal schools has transformed. So hum dekh sakte hain. I'm sorry, I was supposed to speak a bit in Hindi. Sorry for that. So Hindi में भी थोड़ा बढ़ती हूँ कि मिस उपासना ने बहुत काम किया है मध्य प्रदेश में भी, और दिल्ली पीपल जहाँ से वो बिलोंग करती है, जहाँ पे उन लोगों ने बहुत सारे पीपल ने प्रोसेसेस सेट किए हैं, और लीडरशिप के प्रोसेसेस किस तरह स्कूल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन हो सकता है, और वो कौन से लीडरशिप प्रोसेसेस है. सो वेटिंग टू हियर फ्रॉम यू Upasna, what are these leadership processes for school transformation? Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jumana, for the kind words. I think, like you, I'm a bit nervous as well to go after Liz because I mean, I've always respected and been a fan of her work, but I'm going to
Yes.
try.
Yeah. And
Um,
Upasna, if you can speak a bit in Hindi also. Yeah. बीच बीच में अगर आप बोल सकते हैं तो अच्छा रहेगा. Yeah. Thank you.
We'll do that. Let me just quickly share my presentation.
Yes.
I hope the screen is visible, Jumana. दिख रही है?
Just wait. Yes, now it is. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So, like Jumana said, मैं leadership processes क्या school transformation में role play कर सकते हैं, उस पे बात करूंगी अगले 10 मिनट. But start करने से पहले I wanted to ask, two questions of everybody. आपने अभी सुना होगा Liz talked about a lot of leaders के क्या characteristics होते हैं, क्या चीजें वो करते हैं, passion, humility, all of that, right? So my question was, to what extent do you feel that these leadership characteristics are natural or instinctual, and to what extent do you think they are a practice and can be learned? And I think शायद unmute कर सकते हैं या आप comments
आप
में भी
chat
डाल
box
सकते हैं.
में भी लिख सकते हैं. Yeah. People can write in the chat box. So, प्रश्न.
क्वेश्चन इज कितना लीडरशिप हमें लगता है कि नेचुरली आता है, पैशन, ह्यूमिलिटी एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट, और कितना प्रैक्टिस किया जा सकता है.
Tough question actually.
Tough question.
Natural है leadership की instinctual.
बिल्कुल, and it's something to think about.
Actually,
Oh,
yeah.
Shweta replied 25 natural, 75 practice. I think someone is speaking. Bhagwan.
Yeah, Bhagwan. Yes, sir. I am from
Yes.
Sanskriti Samvardhan Mandal.
हाँ जी बोलिए.
Yes. So in this way, 40% I could talk about the natural, but practice makes man perfect, like that. Our experience and practice develops the leader. So like that, I agree with that. 40% natural and 60% practice will get the leadership abilities or qualities.
Thank you, Bhagwan. I think Subhiya ने भी 40-60 लिखा है, किसी ने 25 natural, 75 practice लिखा है. इसी से रिलेटेड थोड़ा सा एक और क्वेश्चन था, क्या पहले आता है माइंडसेट चेंज या बिहेवियर चेंज?
First of all, mindset change.
Mindset change.
Okay, I'm also seeing 3 mindsets on the chat. 4. Okay, so unequivocally we feel that it's mindset change जो पहले आता है. Thank you everyone. I think the reason why I wanted to start with this was because these are kind of core questions at the heart of what we do, and when we started working with school leadership, जैसे जुमाना ने कहा हमारे 275 schools में, and one of the main contentions और जो हम जिस सोच या जिस philosophy के साथ हम आगे बढ़े थे was that school leadership अगर देखा जाए तो it's actually a set of consistent practices and behaviors. And जो भी जितनी भी, I think Liz talked about a lot of different things that leaders are. They are kind, they're supportive, they empower, they create collegiality, sense of humor, looking for good in people. Agar if you see them at one level, what you can do is you can translate them into a set of visible actions and practices या processes जो कि कोई भी जब तक लीडर नहीं बना भी है तब भी वो प्रैक्टिस कर सकता है. And when leaders do that in any set of in any context and reflect on them, that is what supports your journey of being a good school leader. So मैं कुछ उन practices के बारे में आज शेयर करूंगी कि क्या हो सकते हैं जो आपको सपोर्ट कर सकते हैं जर्नी में and show you as a good leader. Very quickly, this is the CM Red Schools program. जुवाना ने already बात की है जिसपे हम काम कर रहे हैं, where we are working with 900 school leaders. So 925 school leaders who we are working with. 2 core philosophy है इस program का. One that अगर आप left side पे देखें,
तो हम बात करते हैं कि जो कल्चर है, जो स्कूल का कल्चर होता है, वो एक बेडरॉक बनता है जिसपे आगे चीजें डेवलप की जा सकती हैं। तो स्कूल में किस तरह से, हाउ डज द स्टाफ इंटरेक्ट विद ईच अदर, how valued is learning in that school culture, what is the extent of support that people give to each other. All of these things are, they form the bedrock in a school, जिसके ऊपर better classroom culture create किया जा सकता है, better student engagement create किया जा सकता है, जिससे learning outcomes change हो सकते हैं। And ये belief इसलिए है क्योंकि a teacher and a child in a classroom, unless and until the teacher has empathy for the child and connects to the child, वो जो real learning है ना, वो जो real emotional investment होना चाहिए, वो ना हो तो उसके बिना actually learning can't happen. So this is one belief based on which we believe that school leader का कितना important role होता है। जो दूसरा बिलीफ है, कोर फिलोसफी है प्रोग्राम का, वो ये है कि बिहेवियर चेंज एक सिस्टम में लाना, जो एक सिस्टम जिसमें बहुत सालों का बैगेज है और बहुत सारी चीजें हुई हैं एक टाइम पे फिर चली जाती हैं, बहुत सारा इनग्रेन्ड कल्चरल प्रैक्टिसेस बहुत सारे हैं, वहां पे बिहेवियर चेंज लाना इज अ वेरी हार्ड थिंग एंड इट नीड्स अ डेली चेंज मैनेजमेंट, जो कि बात करी जाती है ना कि चेंज कैसे हो तो मैनेज कैसे किया जाए। और वो डेली चेंज मैनेजमेंट करने के लिए एजेंट ऑफ चेंज बहुत जरूरी है, जो कि हमारे केस में स्कूल लीडर है। एंड व्हाट डज दैट एजेंट ऑफ चेंज डू? दे डू 4 थिंग्स एंड दे डू दैट डेली। वन, कि इंस्पायर करना रोज, इंसेंटिवाइज करना, मोटिवेट करना रोज, सपोर्ट करना अपने स्टाफ को, एंड देन साथ में अकाउंटेबिलिटी, विच आई थिंक लिव ऑल्सो टॉक्ड अबाउट। तो ये 4 चीजें जो एक एजेंट करता है रोज, उसके that forms the bedrock of the philosophy of why we look at the school leader as having a core role. अगर मैं जो processes की जुमाना, like you were asking and what the topic of the session is, these processes are 6 processes that we have distilled which actually enable each of these 4 things to happen. So quickly diving into that, I'll start with circle time. Now what is that? It's a small 15 to 20 minute space जहाँ team एक साथ आती है, they have fun, they come together every day, they share ups and downs, कहीं support चाहिए तो वो मांगते हैं। How does it help a school leader and how does it help demonstrate those characteristics? टीम में I think Liz was talking about it, collegiality create करना बहुत जरूरी है अपनी टीम में, sense of humor, laughing together I think is extremely important. Liz was again also talking about politics. किसी भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में या सिस्टम में पॉलिटिक्स होते हैं, टेंशन हो जाती है, देर आर इंट्रापर्सनल इंटरपर्सनल टेंशन होती है, दिस वर्क्स एज अ स्पेस टू डिफ्यूज दैट। थर्ड, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट आई थिंक, इन आवर गवर्नमेंट सिस्टम देर आर इनहेरेंटली सम पावर हायरार्कीज। प्रिंसिपल हमेशा आगे बैठता है, स्टाफ हमेशा एक तरफ बैठता है। तो जो ये सर्कल टाइम है, इट ऑल्सो हेल्प्स break those power hierarchies in a sense, and in some sense touches at that humility, displaying that humility by the school leader, and एक team identity का sense बनता है। Similarly, एक और process है reward and recognition, जिसमें formal और informal तरीके से leaders जो है अपने team को call out करते हैं, teacher of the month रखते हैं, कोई boards बनाते हैं, certificates देते हैं। इससे सिस्टम में वो जो कल्चरल शिफ्ट है, जो अभी गवर्नमेंट सिस्टम में काफी देखा जाता है कि पनिशमेंट फर्स्ट ज्यादा होता है, इट चेंजेस टू रिवॉर्ड फर्स्ट, एंड आई थिंक अगेन लिज टॉक्ड अबाउट लुकिंग फॉर द पॉजिटिव। इट हेल्प्स द टीचर्स ट्राई आउट थिंग्स, एक लगता है कि चलो एनकरेजमेंट मिलता है कि हम कर तो सकते हैं। सो एंड आई थिंक लॉट ऑफ अस आर वेरी familiar with it, but if you set it as a process, it's extremely helpful in a school. Print and display at school. Now I'm not necessarily talking about the classroom here, but जब कुछ लोग एक साथ आके अपने स्कूल को तैयार करते हैं, तो वो उससे एक सेंस ऑफ आइडेंटिटी एंड अटैचमेंट बनता है, स्कूल को एक सेंस ऑफ प्राइड बनता है। एंड व्हाट वी हैव सीन इन द सिस्टम इज, स्पेशली व्हेन यू आर वर्किंग एट अ वेरी लार्ज स्केल, सिंप्लिसिटी इज एक्सट्रीमली क्रिटिकल। जो कोई भी आप अगर बात करें, कोई भी इंटरवेंशन, वो डिफिकल्ट नहीं हो सकता। इन दैट सेंस दिस इज अ वेरी हाई ROI सिंपल इंटरवेंशन, जिससे आप कभी भी स्टार्ट करो ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन तो वो एक इट बिकम्स अ विजिबल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन। आई हैव आल्सो टॉक्ड अबाउट ब्रोकन विंडोज हियर, शायद आपने सुना होगा कि ब्रोकन विंडोज थियरी के हिसाब से अगर चीजें ऑलरेडी टूटी, और जो हमें एक आदत है, गवर्नमेंट ऑफिसेस तो ऐसे होते हैं या स्कूल तो ऐसे हैं, दैट चेंज इटसेल्फ हेल्प्स चेंज द माइंडसेट ऑफ पीपल। फिफ्थ प्रोसेस, अकादमिक संवाद, एक मंथली स्पेस जहाँ एकेडमिक की ही बात होगी या तो क्लासरूम की या बच्चों की या स्कूल की, दिस हिट्स एट दैट अकाउंटेबिलिटी वाला काम जो एक लीडर को रेगुलरली करना होता है, एंड ऑल्सो सपोर्ट. Isolation of teachers is a big issue that everybody has talked about in the Indian government context, and it tries to reduce that friction. I will share the deck later with you, so I'm just conscious of time, and मैं थोड़ा आखिरी process पे जाती हूँ, which is classroom walkthrough. This is again a 15 to 20-minute routine where school leaders walk around the school, they go into a classroom for 15 से 20 मिनट, फीडबैक देते हैं या फिर बच्चों का काम देखते हैं. अगेन वन ऑफ दोज प्रोसेसेस जो अकाउंटेबिलिटी भी बनाता है, एक अपॉर्चुनिटी भी क्रिएट करता है और कनेक्शन बनाता है. आई थिंक वॉकिंग थ्रू द स्कूल एंड टॉकिंग टू द टीचर्स helps gaining that knowledge as well. So these were the 6 processes which we have tried to implement in our setup over the last 3 years, and these are just some anecdotes. Again, you'll have the presentation, but एक जो मेरे को बहुत हिट करता है, which is the middle one. मेरे 12 वर्षों के सतत अध्यापन से जो नीरसता आनी शुरू हुई थी, वो रोचकता में बदलने लगी. एंड आई थिंक दैट हिट्स एट द हार्ट ऑफ व्हाट वी आर ट्राइंग टू डू. स्कूल में चाहे बच्चा हो, चाहे टीचर हो, चाहे स्कूल लीडर हो, उन्हें मजा आना चाहिए. अगर मजा नहीं आएगा तो everybody will do things in a way that may not necessarily lead to outcomes. So I think that's it from me. Thank you, everybody. This is my email ID in case you need to get in touch.
Thank you, Upasna. That was again, a very quick but concise way of getting all the processes that you've spelled out. We wanted to hear more and more. बहुत कुछ आपने बताया, पर हमें और सुनना था. But I guess हमें और 2 speakers हैं जो हमें बहुत कुछ और बताएंगे, जिससे हमें जानकारी मिलेगी. So moving on to our third speaker, Miss Monal Jayaram. Miss Monal Jayaram ने अगेन कैवलियर से है, बहुत बड़ा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बहुत सालों से, और पिरामल में अभी है, जहाँ पे काफी स्कूल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन किए हैं और उनकी एक्सपीरियंस भी बहुत है, और वो उन्होंने काफी काम किया है, एंड शी विल गिव अस अ लॉट ऑफ प्रैक्टिकल इनसाइट्स इनटू सिस्टेमिक बिहेवियरल चेंज. यानी उपासना ने हमें कुछ प्रोसेसेस बताए और लिज ने हमें कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स ऑफ लीडर्स बताए, बट मिस मोनल विल टॉक टू अस अ लॉट अबाउट कोई भी लार्ज स्केल स्कूल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन या स्कूल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन के लिए किस तरह की सिस्टमिक चेंज या सिस्टमिक बिहेवियरल चेंज, और ऑल्सो क्या कॉम्प्लेक्सिटीज है, किस तरह, जैसे इन्होंने बताया हायरार्की भी है, कैसे उन सब के साथ उन सब लीडर्स जो हायरार्की में है, कैसे उनके साथ काम किया है और करना चाहिए, उसके बारे में मिस मोनल जी हमें बताएंगे. सो ओवर टू यू, मिस मोनल. हाउ इज इट वर्किंग विद द सिस्टम फॉर स्कूल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन?
थैंक यू सो मच. सबसे पहले मुझे लग रहा है कि लिज जी का और उपासना जी का बात सुनने के बाद एक्चुअली मेरी कोई जरूरत नहीं है यहाँ पर, लेकिन अब आ गई हूँ तो बात करूंगी.
Not at all.
Because they have covered everything that is most critical for thinking about leadership and for thinking about हम कैसे स्कूलों को बदले या एजुकेशन सिस्टम को बदले. तो बट नेक्स्ट स्लाइड पे जाएंगे. थोड़ा सा मैं बस बताना चाहती हूँ, कैवली एजुकेशन फाउंडेशन या पिरामल फाउंडेशन ये 2008 में सेटअप हुआ था, और हमने शुरू की थी कहानी हमारी प्रिंसिपल्स के साथ, स्कूल प्रिंसिपल्स के साथ 2 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में. And
I think what time Cavalier was the main one who worked with leaders. Everyone else were not working, and Cavalier was the one which set out with leaders. So it would be great to know.
Yeah. And we very soon we realized that क्योंकि हमारा क्वेश्चन ये था कि बच्चे को अच्छी क्वालिटी एजुकेशन देने के लिए क्या सिर्फ टीचर ट्रेनिंग इनफ है या कुछ और भी जरूरी है. और वहां से वो क्वेश्चन पूछते पूछते हमने पाया कि स्कूल लीडर, उनके ऊपर जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट या क्लस्टर या ब्लॉक में आने वाले जो एजुकेशनल ऑफिशियल्स हैं, उनके ऊपर जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट ऑफिसेज में काम करने वाले जो ऑफिशियल्स हैं या डाइट में काम करने वाले जो ऑफिशियल्स हैं, और उनके ऊपर के लोग जो स्टेट के इंस्टीट्यूशंस में इन्वॉल्व है, इन सभी का बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट योगदान है स्कूल को ट्रांसफॉर्म करने का। तो एक तो हमारे काम मतलब 2008 से आज तक की अगर मैं जर्नी को बहुत संक्षिप्त में बोलूं तो हमने बस ये सीखा है कि everyone is important in that entire chain, value chain, क्योंकि each person through their roles and through their responsibilities and through their decisions are actually impacting the child in some or other way. So therefore, it is critical to work with everyone, and this is the crux that I'm going to speak about throughout. आप सारी slides में यही देखेंगे.
Wonderful.
आज अगर मैं देखूं तो हम वैसे तो as foundation we are working across several across all the states, but मैं जो कहानियां लेकर आ रही हूँ वो 8 states में हम जो काम कर रहे हैं 21st सेंचुरी कॉम्पिटेंसीज पे काम कर रहे हैं, और 21st सेंचुरी कॉम्पिटेंसीज को हमें अगर स्कूल सिस्टम में इंटीग्रेट करना है ताकि हर बच्चे को उसका फायदा मिले, हर बच्चा फ्यूचर रेडी बने, तो उसके लिए हमें एट स्केल स्टेट के साथ या डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स के साथ क्या करना चाहिए उसके बारे में मैं ज्यादातर बात करूंगी. वी कैन गो टू द नेक्स्ट स्लाइड प्लीज. Like I was saying, just want to establish कि कितना complex system है, और उपासना भी बता रहे थे और लिज भी बता रहे थे कि बहुत कॉम्प्लेक्सिटीज हैं. हर एक मतलब अगर आप नंबर्स देखें तो नंबर्स ही काफी है पूरे भारत में एक तो, और इन सभी का एक बहुत बड़ा योगदान है कि वो बहुत बड़ा कॉम्प्लेक्स बजट कंट्रोल करते हैं, बिकॉज इट्स अ कॉम्प्लेक्स सिस्टम दैट वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट. देयर आर ऑफिशियल्स इवन at the national level who are involved in it. So next slide please. Yeah, next slide. Yeah, and you know, if you look at it in this way, we realize that every person in the system is a leader. उनके दायरे में, वो चाहे टीचर है जो अपने क्लासरूम में काम कर रहे हैं, वो चाहे स्कूल प्रिंसिपल है जो अपने स्कूल में काम कर रहे हैं, और बाकी के टीचरों के साथ काम कर रहे हैं, उनके टीम के साथ काम कर रहे हैं, वो चाहे सरपंच है, क्लस्टर ऑफिशियल है, ब्लॉक ऑफिशियल है, डाइट टाइप के रोल में है, रिसोर्स पर्सन के टाइप के मतलब ट्रेनिंग वाले रोल में है, या एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव रोल में है जो एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर वाला जो भी है, वो जो भी अपना रोल कर रहे हैं, he or she has to perform as a leader. That is the stress, because on daily basis there are certain difficult decisions to take. There are very very compassionate decisions to take. बच्चे के फायदे का डिसीजन मैं ले रही हूँ कि नहीं एज अ डीईओ और एज अ क्लस्टर रिसोर्स ऑफिशियल और एज अ टीचर, ये हमेशा क्वेश्चन रहता है. तो इस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में हमें उनके रोल्स को देखना है, इस कॉन्टेक्स्ट को हमें उनके रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज को देखना है, और इस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में हमें उनकी कॉम्प्लेक्सिटीज को देखना है. नेक्स्ट स्लाइड प्लीज. और हमने पाया कि और ये एक एग्जाम्पल है, एक टिपिकल जो डीईओ है उनकी क्या क्या परेशानियां होती है. यू नो, मेरा बहुत सारा टाइम निरीक्षण में जाता है. मैं क्या ही अपने टीम को मदद करूं कि वो आगे कैसे बढ़ाए अपना काम. मैं कैसे देखूं कि टीचर मोटिवेट फील करें, मेरे डिस्ट्रिक्ट में टीचर्स मोटिवेटेड है या नहीं मोटिवेटेड है, इसको मैं कैसे देखूं. मुझे ये नहीं पता है कि कौन सी योजना स्कूल्स में कैसे इम्प्लीमेंट हो रही है. इसके लिए मतलब डेटा तो कलेक्ट हो रहा है, पर हाउ डू आई मेक सेंस ऑफ दिस एंड व्हाट डू आई डू विद इट. आई स्ट्रगल विद दैट. मेरी ही जो टीम है मेरे ही डिपार्टमेंट में, वो उनको मैं मोटिवेटेड कैसे रखूं ताकि वो मेरे ही जितने लीडरशिप ओरिएंटेडनेस से अपना काम करें। तो इस तरह के बहुत सारे तनाव रहते हैं ऑफिशियल्स के माइंड में। नेक्स्ट स्लाइड प्लीज। Yeah, just the complexity keeps getting more and more and more, intense. होता ये है कि उनके रोल में, वो चाहे वो टीचर का रोल है या डीईओ का रोल है, उनके रोल में दे स्टार्ट फीलिंग वेरी रिड्यूस्ड टू अ पर्टिकुलर, जस्ट आई हैव ऑफन हर्ड, जो जिसको इंग्लिश में कहते हैं कॉग इन द व्हील। बस हमें तो करना है, हमारा कोई सुनेगा नहीं, हमारी सिस्टम कभी सुनेगी नहीं, और बस हमें तो बस काम करना है, हम तो इसी के लिए है। तो इस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में हमने, नेक्स्ट स्लाइड प्लीज, इस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में हमने पाया कि जब हमने काम शुरू किया, हमने पाया कि डिस्पाइट ऑल दिस चैलेंजेस एंड डिस्पाइट दिस फीलिंग के अरे मैं तो कॉग इन द व्हील हूं, जब आप गुडनेस की बात करते हो, पीपल आर फंडामेंटली गुड and people have inherent moral disposition, moral values भर के रखी होती है, लेकिन उनको अनलॉक करने का या उनको उनके बारे में सोचने का जो समय, शायद लीज मैम वही बता रही थी, शांति से बैठ के उसके बारे में व्हाट इज द मेन पर्पस ऑफ व्हाट आई एम हियर फॉर एंड व्हाट इज द मेन पर्पस ऑफ व्हाट माय रोल रिक्वायर्स मी टू डू, इसके बारे में सोचना ये मौका नहीं मिलता है। तो इनहेरेंटली आई एम अ गुड पर्सन, बट आई डोंट हैव द टाइम टू टेक अ ब्रेथ एंड think about what is the value that I need to create in my work. And I don't even have the opportunity or the tools कि मैं मेरी ऑटोनॉमी, क्योंकि मेरी सिस्टम मुझे रोक के रखेगी, सही है, बिकॉज एवरी, जैसे लिज मैम बोल रही थी कि हर एक संस्था की एक पॉलिटिक्स होती है, एवरी सिस्टम हैज इट्स ओन बाउंडेशंस, देयर इज नथिंग दैट कैन नॉट बी स्टॉप्ड, but within that foundation also, where can I use my autonomy and unlock my potential so that it is valuable for children? ये सोचना कैसे, ये सोच कैसे हम अनलॉक करें, हमने ये पाया कि हमें उस पे काम करना चाहिए, और हमने कंटिन्यूसली सिर्फ इसके ऊपर ही काम किया है। नेक्स्ट स्लाइड प्लीज। तो हमने पाया कि what they require is a combination of learning some leadership skills and unlock their सेवा भाव। सेवा भाव सभी में होता है। मुझे उन बच्चों को जो डिफिकल्ट कंडीशंस में से आते हैं उनको सर्व करना है, ये मेरा सबसे पहला रोल है। ये सारे लोग बोलते हैं, जब वर्कशॉप्स में हम ये क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं कि सर आप या मैडम आप क्यों यहाँ है, आपको क्या लग रहा है, आपका रोल क्या है, तो जैसे जैसे डीप जाते हैं ये जरूर आर्टिकुलेशन आता है कि मेरा सबसे पहला रोल है उन बच्चों के लिए कुछ फायदा कराना जिनको कोई अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं है। बट ये सेवा भाव तक पहुंचना, क्योंकि सिस्टम की वजह से वो इरोड हो गया है, वो स्टक हो गया है, इसको अनलॉक करना जरूरी है। तो लीडरशिप स्किल की जरूरत है, और ये सेवा भाव, वी कॉल इट सेवा भाव क्योंकि इट इज अबाउट सर्विंग अदर्स, इसको अनलॉक करने की जरूरत है, ये हमने पाया। एंड व्हाट इज टिपिकली सेवा भाव? दैट leaders find a way to heal themselves first. They are able to be compassionate to themselves first, and then create a feel the sense of compassion for others, for the children, for their teams, for their friends and foes who are in the system, anyone. And they learn how to assess and overcome biases. मेरा कोई bias है उस सेट ऑफ चिल्ड्रन की तरफ, मेरा कोई बायस हो सकता है ये मेरे टीम मेंबर की तरफ जो शायद लेडी है या कोई पर्टिकुलर बैकग्राउंड से आ रही है, हो सकता है मेरा कोई बायस है। इस चीज को समझना और फिर उसके ऊपर काम करना, और मेरी एक वैल्यू है जिसके ऊपर मैं हमेशा सोचती रहती हूँ और वो वैल्यूज लेके ही मैंने अपना लाइफ जिया है, उसको मैं यहाँ पर भी लाऊंगी, इसकी सोच बनाना। नेक्स्ट स्लाइड प्लीज। और इस नजरिए से हमने पाया कि बहुत सारा पर्सनल ड्राइवर कैसे अनलॉक हो सकता है। ये एक 4 स्टैक मॉडल हमने फाइनली क्रिएट किया। तो पर्सनल लीडरशिप लोगों की अनलॉक करनी जरूरी है, उनको मीनिंग, लर्निंग, जॉय, प्राइड महसूस हो अपने काम में। मेरा काम बहुत अच्छा है, मेरा एक पोटेंशियल है कि मैं इतनी लाइव्स को इम्पैक्ट कर सकती हूँ। ये मीनिंग मेकिंग आ गया तो उनका फिर जॉय, उनकी the pride that they feel in their work, all of that changes. So there is a personal leadership angle. The second part is the social leadership angle. How do I collaborate with others? And what are my behavioral and cultural shifts? What is it that I need to do differently? हर एक के ऊपर मैं चिल्ला चोट मचा के या पावर दिखा के तो काम करवा नहीं सकती हूँ. How do I influence them while I'm an authority figure? How do I influence them without authority so that it inspires action out of them also? जितना मैं जितना मैं एक्शन करना चाहती हूँ उतना मैं दूसरों पर भी, दूसरों में से भी अनलॉक कर सकूं. ये मैं इंस्पिरेशन कैसे दूं बजाय कि डांट दपट चिल्लाना. सो सोशल लीडरशिप, people leadership. How do I collaborate with myself and others? How do I coach them into better reflective people? How do I coach them to work as a team? And the last is then the domain leadership, the public system management हम बुलाते हैं, domain बुलाते हैं कई सारे. बट जो भी, अगर मैं SCRT में हूँ तो या डाइट में हूँ तो मेरी एक डोमेन होगी जिसमें मुझे बाकियों को भी अनलॉक करना है. अगर मैं CMAT में हूँ या एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव रोल में हूँ तो अगेन डिपेंडिंग ऑन व्हाट माय डोमेन इज, आई हैव टू अनलॉक others. So that domain leadership, and we realize that ये 4 stack model बहुत अच्छे से काम करता है. Maximum work is around helping people unlock their personal leadership, their meaning, learning, and joy, pride in their work. Next slide please. मैं यहाँ पर एक एग्जाम्पल है, बट आई थिंक मीनिंग, लर्निंग, जॉय, प्राइड के कई सारे एग्जाम्पल्स है जो बिकॉज ओवर द इयर्स हमने लगभग 10 लाख लीडर्स के साथ काम किया है, इंक्लूडिंग टीचर्स. एंड वी रियलाइज दैट मीनिंग, लर्निंग, जॉय, प्राइड को अनलॉक करके या पर्सनल लीडरशिप को अनलॉक करके हमने पाया कि एक पर्टिकुलर हमारे इनोवेशन थी सोशल इमोशनल लर्निंग की, सोशल इमोशनल एथिकल लर्निंग की. वी रियलाइज दैट at some point we became the technical supporters of the and this is a case from Rajasthan government. We became the technical supporters. उन्होंने बोला, ये SCRT के ऑफिशियल्स हैं जिनके बारे में बात कर रही हूँ, आभा जी एंड कमलेंदु जी. एंड बिकॉज दे वर सो मच डीपली इन्वॉल्व विद दिस क्वेश्चन के उनका रोल क्या है उन बच्चों के लिए जिनको जिनकी लाइव्स उन्हें बदलनी है. सोशल इमोशनल एथिकल लर्निंग जैसी चीज उन्होंने पाई कि बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है बच्चे में सेल्फ चेंज कराने में भी. And they themselves invested, themselves and their colleagues to learn about it from us. And then they said, अब आप टेक्निकल सपोर्ट रहिए, हम इसको ले जाएंगे, हम इसका करिकुलम बनाएंगे, हम इसको हमारे टाइम टेबल में इंटीग्रेट करेंगे. हम इसके लिए एट द मोमेंट कोई पैसा नहीं है हमारी सिस्टम में, बट हम ये लाएंगे और हम कुछ क्रिएट करेंगे. Don't worry about it. But I believe that all of this did not happen because social emotional learning की हमने अच्छी ट्रेनिंग करी. So it was not the domain that helped. but it was the unlocking of the potential and believing in the two of them and in their team, that as a team we can do something together. So it was the unlocking of the potential of the person that helped. And that's my story. Thank you so much.
Great. I think this is a great example of what we said, that, true leaders create leaders and not followers. So I think that's, again, it resonates very well with that. And the four stack model was really, I think, बहुत useful रहेगा four stack model हमारे participants जो join हुए हैं for leadership, and बहुत ही meaningful है. I could really relate to it. बहुत मुझे relate हुआ कि how all the things are important, and it was this. Of course, PPT हम बाद में share करेंगे. Also, participants, please, जैसे जैसे आप सुनते जा रहे हैं, questions note करिए. मेरे पास तो बहुत सारे questions हैं, लेकिन फिर मेरे ही questions पूरे नहीं होंगे. So I would request जो भी participants हमारे साथ YouTube से जुड़े हैं और अभी Zoom पे है, हर एक speaker के लिए जो भी questions हैं आपके पास note down कीजिए या chat पे डाल दीजिए, so that we know and we can take them. We have last almost 15 minutes for that. But before that, and before we move on to question and answers in open forum, we have our final speaker for today, Mr. Ram Prakash. और वो हमें फील्ड से बताएंगे. उन्होंने भी स्कूल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन 3 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में किए हैं, और कैसा उनका एक्सपीरियंस रहा है वो शेयर करेंगे, और किस तरह से लीडरशिप उसमें उन्होंने लीडरशिप के माध्यम से कैसे स्कूल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन हुआ है, what worked for leaders, what didn't work in terms of that. Mr. Ram Prakash will share with us. Over to you, Mr. Ram Prakash.
Thank you, Monal, for the warm welcome and talking. I'm just copying Upasna's dialogue. Talking after Liz, Upasna, and Monal ji, I think I feel a bit nervous. But I'm going to share my and Vidhai's experience on field. And if I'm not wrong, you had mentioned Karti hai, which means like already done, right? But no, we are just still striving for that excellence.
Okay, great.
Yes. I'll quickly share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to share our experience in the district with the district partnership about school excellence. When I used to think about a lot, like why this Venn diagram being taught to me, and where is it going to help me out. But today I'm going to take this Venn diagram A intersection B as an example or as an analogy throughout the presentation. A, organization and its beliefs. Yeah, it's us with the foundation. How many of you will raise hands for this statement? I think many of you are showing some nodding. I could see Monal ji nodding. Yes, even we do believe CEOs are most important people for success of an organization or sustainable for the organization. Now, consider school as an organization. Yeah. And school leaders as the CEO of that organization. Are they equipped enough to lead the schools? That's a million dollar question, right? And as a teacher, I could be the best chemistry teacher in the world. But when I want to lead the school, it requires certain skills, certain knowledge, as everyone had mentioned. And this is where Vidhya Foundation is working towards. We believe that if we have equipped school leaders, then schools will get flourish. Schools will run in an effective manner without many challenges. Yes, challenges do come, but school leaders knows how to address those challenges. That's what we mean. B, government and its challenges. Can anyone guess what this thread denotes here? Any guesses? Any one or two chat responses?
ये लाल धागा का क्या मतलब है वो पूछ रहे राम प्रकाश जी। किसी को गेस करना है तो चैट पे लिख सकते हैं। फ्रेंडशिप, somebody has written friendship.
Yeah, thank you,
Mr.
Sumanji.
Suman Das, yeah.
Yeah. Let me start off with a story for this slide. Satya, 11th grader, who was listening like someone knocking his door. It was 10 p.m. Upon opening the door, he saw three of his own classmates standing with a sharp sickle. In no time, they started slashing Satya. Satya fell down in a bloodshed. Satya, being an academic achiever, coming from a so-called lower caste, was not accepted by his own classmates from so-called the other side of it. This is one of the predominant issue in one of the districts in Tamil Nadu. This is not an incident. This is not a story, but a real incident which happened in part of the country. And every 100 kilometers we travel in India, we could see different dialects, different cultures, different food, and so does the challenges. So challenges also different. Here is when this diagram gives a meaning, right? So organization has its own beliefs, and government and the body, the system has its challenges. So the intersection is what I'm going to talk about now. It's the partnership, and here is when the district education empowerment program was born in partnership with the district government of one of the district governments of Tamil Nadu. Okay, what is DEEP, the district education empowerment program? It is all the school leaders coming together, be it the district collector, different NGO bodies, and other departments, be it EB department, transportation department, and educational department, coming together for the district, by the district is the whole idea. Yeah. And this committee is called steering committee, where they meet monthly once or 2 months once and discuss all the challenges of the district at the district level, and they pass resolutions and they take interventions based on the needs that's coming in for that particular quarter or particular academic year. One such initiative which district deep had taken was the house system. What is house system? We all would have seen this in some of the private schools. Students are randomly classified into four houses, and they are given a different color. And they, for each and every activity, the scores will be marked. For example, you come to school, I mark the attendance, but then your house will get a score. If you participate in the class, your house will get a score. You participate in sports, your house will get a score. So the school leader will form a board, and they monthly once they form the scoring system and update the scoring board, and it motivated students to participate in the school process. It's just like Harry Potter gamifying the entire experience. We piloted it in 26 schools, and it was brainchild of one of the bureaucrat, and we designed it and we implemented it in 26 schools. Later this year, it had scaled to 181 schools, and now Tamil Nadu government has adopted this initiative to across all 37,500 schools. Another initiative, another example that I would like to share here is SMC Chairperson's Conclave. Deep thought, yes, it was a deep thought, that community partnership is vital for the school transformation, the school excellence. So they thought of creating a platform for SMC chairpersons to come and understand what the Deep's vision, what they wanted to do it for the district at the district level. So exclusive day was designed for SMC chairpersons, and it was one of the pilot initiative in the district. Later on, all the districts had adopted it and did it for their own districts. And imagine district collector talking to the SMC chairperson for half an hour to 1 hour was one of the highlight of that day. Now, DEEP is a quasi body. It has its own bylaws, It has its own registration, and not just Vidhai. There are so many other partners are working closely with Deep at the district level. For example, there are different partners who have come for the sports and other domains in the evaluation framework, which are like school leadership development, where Vidhya is partnered with teacher empowerment program, FLN. So there are so many other domains where other partners have come in and working along with the district government. Our students have now, in the last 1 year training, they started participating in different competitions, and a few of them are now rated chess players. Within like 10 months of training, a few of them are getting awards across the country. Recently, this happened in Assam. Okay, what are the key takeaways? It's not just the organization, what we wanted to do, what the program that we have. Instead, it's also about like what our stakeholders are going through. So it's not just me going and conducting a workshop and coming back, but then what they are going through, what is the challenges that they are facing. It's also about like what Elizabeth had mentioned, Liz has mentioned, like talk less and listen more. Intervention, even during the workshop, this is the formula that we are following. Like we will listen to them and act upon it, and maybe calling it as intervention is what is helping. Okay, what it won't help us again, instead of A intersection B, if you're following A union B or A separate, B separate, it won't work absolutely in the district, in working in the system level. So transforming government schools, isn't it a solo effect? It's a collective journey, and whoever is interested in working with the system, I would like to share this thought with you all. Like it's a collective journey, and it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. It requires like many more years to crack certain things. But being patient is the only way to achieve it. Like how the panel members who have spoken, like how they have achieved it, we are in that journey. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Ram Prakash, and you've shared with us some of the things that worked very well in this, and what all was involved in that. Thank you so much, and we wish you all the best, and we hope that this journey, is goes on, and you can take in more and more schools, and your numbers scale up, because simple things sometimes just hit, and we've never thought of it. We've never done that. We try to do more complex things, and that's what even many speakers have said, that it's complex, but some simple things can easily be scaled up, and transformation can occur. Yeah. So we have come almost, we've heard from all our 4 speakers in the part 1 series of leadership for school transformation. I'm going to quickly just summarize a bit of what each one has said. हर एक ने जो कहा है वो मैं थोड़ा शॉर्ट में बोलूंगी, ताकि आप लोगों के जो प्रश्न थे जब वो बोल रहे थे वो आपको शायद याद आ जाए और आप अपने प्रश्न रेडी रखें, because I think a good leader invites questions and not asks questions. So I think all our 4 leaders and panelists would want questions, and and also if you all want to ask each other questions also, you can be ready with them. So we started with Liz ma'am, and she spoke to us about the 3 most important characteristics, which again have a lot more other characteristics embedded in them, which were passion, humility and knowledge. And Liz ma'am ने also कहा कि एक लीडर मैनेजर नहीं होता है, और कुछ ऐसी क्वालिटीज भी उन्होंने बताई, जैसे हेलीकॉप्टर व्यू रखना, और अप्रिशिएट करना दूसरों की यूनिकनेस को, और कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग अगर करना है तो उसमें प्रॉब्लम्स को कैसे सॉल्व करते हैं उसके ऊपर शी स्पोक अबाउट। डिसीजन मेकिंग के बारे में भी उन्होंने बात की। रेजिलियंस, परस्यूइंग अ शेयर्ड विजन, थिंक ऐसे सब बहुत सारी क्वालिटीज के बारे में लिज मैम ने हमें बताया। और फिर उपासना जी ने हमारे साथ कुछ प्रैक्टिसेस शेयर किए, स्पेशली 6 प्रोसेसेस जो उन्होंने शेयर किए। और उन्होंने स्कूल कल्चर के बारे में बहुत बात की कि एक स्कूल कल्चर रॉक होता है, और माइंडसेट चेंज और बिहेवियर चेंज के लिए। और प्रोसेसेस जो उन्होंने, सर्कल टाइम जैसा सिंपल प्रोसेस भी है जो उन्होंने कहा कि बहुत काम आया उनके लिए। रिवॉर्ड और रिकग्निशन जो कई बार हम भूल जाते हैं देना। और फिर प्रिंट एंड डिस्प्ले रिच क्लास स्कूल्स। फिर एक फोरम होना चाहिए जहां एकेडमिक्स को डिस्कस किया जाए, और क्लासरूम वॉक थ्रू और ऐसे प्रोसेसेस उन्होंने सिंपल टेक अवेज हैं आपके लिए, जो आप बिल्कुल स्कूल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन में तुरंत ही यूज कर सकते हैं। जैसे ये वेबिनार खत्म हो हम ये सब शुरू कर सकते हैं, अगर इनमें से कुछ हमने नहीं शुरू किया है। सो थैंक यू उपासना जी फॉर दैट। देन मिस मोनल जयराम ने हमें बताया कि कितना कॉम्प्लेक्स सिस्टम है, कितने लोग हैं उस टीचर के ऊपर जहां से चीजें आती हैं, और फिर भी और सभी इंपॉर्टेंट है उस सिस्टम में, एंड सभी का एक रोल है। और मिस मोनल ने कहा कि सभी के मन में यही है कि एक बच्चे की लर्निंग जर्नी, हाउ डू यू मेक द टू केटर टू द चाइल्ड, सभी को चाइल्ड के लिए काम करना है। और उन्होंने कहा कि इसके लिए हम इन सभी लीडर्स को लीडरशिप स्किल्स और सेवा भाव के लिए हम वो काम करते हैं। और उन्होंने हमें एक 4 स्टैक मॉडल के साथ इंट्रोड्यूस किया जो बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग था। आई थिंक हर एक लीडर के लिए, चाहे वो कोई भी, वो पूरे सिस्टम में कोई भी लेयर पे हो, कोई भी पॉइंट पे हो। और मैंने गिने, आई थिंक एक टीचर के पहले 11 ऊपर उनके लोग हैं मोनल जी, जब आप बता रहे थे। सो लेकिन सभी के लिए उन्होंने कहा कि हर एक लीडर के लिए पर्सनल लीडरशिप, सोशल लीडरशिप, पीपल लीडरशिप और पब्लिक सिस्टम, ये उन्होंने बताया कैसे कर सकते हैं। और मैक्सिमम उन्होंने कहा कि काम करना चाहिए पर्सनल लीडरशिप, जहां पे हर एक लीडर अपनी पर्सनल लीडरशिप पे काम करे, दैट इज मीनिंग, लर्निंग, जॉय और प्राइड के लिए। और उन्होंने बताया। And Mr. Ram Prakash very nicely brought out the Venn diagram of any school transformation organization and its belief, and at one point, and there is government and its challenges, and kaise there's a unified vision that Deep took, and they wanted to work on that. एंड उन्होंने कुछ अगेन हमें बहुत सिंपल से टेक अवे सिस्टम्स, ये जो इतने 37,500 स्कूल्स ने ऑलरेडी किया है, वो है हाउस सिस्टम करना और उससे मोटिवेशन बढ़ाना। और वो खुद उन्होंने कहा कि उन्हीं के जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट के ये जो ऑफिसर्स थे उनका ही आइडिया था, और विद्या विदाई फाउंडेशन ने उसको हेल्प किया कैसे उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करना है। और बहुत सारे स्कूल्स में वो अभी चल रहा है हाउस सिस्टम, जिससे काफी स्कूल में बदलाव आ रहा है। और ये अच्छा एक आइडिया और भी दिया है, एसएमसी को स्ट्रॉन्ग बनाना हर स्कूल के, और उसके लिए डिस्ट्रिक्ट कलेक्टर जब ऐसा कॉन्क्लेव रखते हैं तो सबको लगता है कि हम पार्ट है इस बदलाव के, स्कूल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन के। सो दैट वाज अ ग्रेट आइडिया अगेन, विच एनेबल्स कम्युनिटी सपोर्ट, जैसे कम्युनिटी को भी लगता है कि वी आर ऑल्सो अ पार्ट ऑफ द स्कूल्स, and localized solutions, holistic development, and ऐसे भी बहुत सारे जो उन्होंने ideas share किए हैं for leadership. So we've got many more. Now we'll move on to the questions. So Shruti, do we have questions?
Yes, we have some questions in the Zoom chat box.
Okay, so we have Mr. Rohit Rai. Would you like to unmute and ask your question, Mr. Rohit Rai? I think it's for Mr. Ram Prakash. It's on the house system. Mr. Rohit Rai has asked a question about the house system. Does the house system resolve the problem of discrimination, or does it create new issues, such as one house being associated with a particular section of the community? Mr. Ram Prakash? Yeah.
Yeah. So the red tie rope that we saw, they denote to caste, let's say, okay, particular caste. The different color rope belongs to a different caste. Due to this house system and a different identity, it is like having a larger line next to the smaller line and showing that you have got a different identity. So when I'm entering into a school, I'm getting a new identity that I belong to red house. I belong to blue house instead of what I used to get earlier. Yeah. So that is the whole idea, which is helping the house system to just a platform for students to get mingled. And Rohit, like if you ask me with the data, we are in the process. Honestly speaking, I cannot give you like what we have done in the last 1 year. It's a long process. Maybe after 2 years, I can give you like a strong, solid data, because a lot of research going on with the researchers, proper researchers about this initiative along with us. So I could definitely give you some data-oriented points after 1 or 2 years. But now, yes, we are seeing a lot of anecdotal evidences from the students, from the headmasters, from the other officials as well.
Thank you, Mr. Ram Prakash. We also have some other question. I think it's related to that only, or I don't know if any of the speakers would like to take it, because Mr. Avinash has not said who it is for, but I think it is for what strategies would you suggest for addressing and overcoming the internalized biases and prejudices that often accompany work with marginalized communities? So I think all four speakers are working with marginalized communities. Am I right in saying that? So would anyone like to take that question? What strategies would you suggest for addressing and overcoming the internalized biases and prejudices? और इसके बारे में मोनल जी ने बात की थी. So Monal ji, I'll hand over this question to you, because you did talk about, सेवा भाव में आप काम करते हैं on that. So if you can give some more strategies on that.
Sure. I don't know whether I'll give strategies, and my answer may sound like a more of an esoteric thing. But really, I think this is what we've seen as having worked often. So, first of all, I agree that there is always a bias that people hold. And it is not just a marginalized communities, it is also about everyone else who is other than you. Because human beings are designed in such a way that we start looking at what uniqueness we possess, and in doing so, when the self awareness doesn't help you identify कि मैं यूनिक हूं तो वो अगला भी यूनिक है, उतना ही यूनिक है, when that doesn't happen, then we've noticed that then these differentiations start. So anyone who is different from me is different. That's where the original bias, the biasness starts evolving. And I think what we have learned over the years is that, like I was talking about, influencing without authority or things like that, personal, looking back into your own personal leadership journey. What am I ending up doing to others in my interaction? And what am I ending up doing to others or thinking about others in a particular way? We do a lot of unlocking of that mindset. And I want to give an example that, we were actually in a workshop, and we actually realized that the men and the women in the same workshop, and they were of the same level, which is that they were all school leaders from schools, principals from schools. They were not talking with each other. Okay. And we said, let's use some sports to break this gender bias. And the day when we started with frisbee. The day when we started, the men would play, the women would not. The day two, we went back and we debriefed, and we said, मैडम आप क्यों नहीं खेल रहे? मैं साड़ी पहन के कैसे खेलूं? And sir would say, मैडम साड़ी पहन के कैसे खेलेगी? हम खेल लेंगे, उनकी ओर से भी हम खेल लेंगे. it started with that, but the debrief questions that we kept asking, why did you pass the frisbee only to your this colleague and not that colleague? Why are you not telling anything to madam to join? Do you want to be more encouraging and request madam to join? Stuff like that. By the end of the 5th day, it was a 5-day residential workshop. By the end of the 5th day, we realized that everyone was passing the frisbee to each other. And the men स्कूल लीडर्स सेड, अरे हमने तो कभी सोचा ही नहीं था कि मैडम हमसे भी अच्छा खेल सकती है. एंड द विमेन लीडर्स सेड, हमने ये नहीं सोचा था कि सर हमें भी ये पास कर सकते हैं और हमारे साथ खेल सकते हैं. So these are all social biases that we bring into our roles and our work and our whatever. But simple things like this, which is going to break the ice first of all, help break the ice first of all, and then, go deep into asking, why did we do this? Did I do it right? Could I have done it differently? And, that I think has worked for us in a very big way.
Sounds good. Thank you, Monal.
I can just add a little bit to that.
Yes, Upasna,
just in
sure,
terms of strategies, right? I think completely agree with what Monal mentioned. मुझे जो इसमें एक चीज हमने सीखी है, which is that this can't be taught in a classroom or through even conversation से हो सकता है, data से हो सकता है, but बहुत ही कम. I think you really need to create an experience for this. So to be able to feel that same, to be able to feel what the journey has been for anybody else, when you're thinking about them or anybody in the that marginalized community, हमने इसमें activities या ऐसे experiences काफी use करने की कोशिश की है. जैसे there is some blindfold activities that we have done which have really led कि आंखें खुल गई. Or even things like simulations, if you were asking about strategies, right? जहाँ पे हर एक को एक let's say there are 4 people and they're each part of a different group, and then you give some cases, कुछ होता है, and then how do outcomes change just because they started at a different level. So अगर experience create करो या game based, that helps change that realization happen.
Thank you, Upasna. Thank you so much. We have one more question from Mr. Sriram Valuri. The quality of a leader is to create a system or society which do not require a leader. So, which is given by Jiddu J. Krishnamurti. So, how can a leader achieve this stage? And Mr. Sriram also says that you can disagree also if you do not agree with the above statement from your own experience. So, how can a leader achieve this stage where you create a system or a society which will not require a leader? Liz, would you like to answer this question? Yeah, you'll have to unmute, Liz. You're on mute. Yeah, Liz.
Hey.
Yes, now, yes.
Am I off mute now?
Yes, Liz, we can hear you.
Okay, I think we're living in a society that has biases, and I think the two questions are related with one another. That going back to the previous question, how much of this is tackled in pre-service training? We do teacher, learner, and society in Muktangan, get would-be teachers to reflect upon a lot of these things. But how much we may talk about all these discussions, all this reflection, but what space are we creating in the megalithic system to enable this to be part of a teacher's daily life? And that is what worries me. We need to facilitate leadership in everybody. But how do we do it at a large scale so that the organization doesn't need a leader, it's participation and everyone takes responsibility? I think the system has got so overloaded that no one has time to think, no one has time to develop into leaders. I'm sorry, I'm sounding a bit pessimistic. But systemically, how do we achieve this to get where you don't require a leader?
Yeah. And Liz, very well said, though you've almost even answered it that participatory leadership eventually would create. And what you hit upon the nail upon the head is the pre-service, where the would-be teachers will come from. If that is practiced in pre-service, participatory leadership, I think that was where we are already creating, a system in the pre-service or in the institutions where the teachers are getting qualified, the B.Ed and the D.Ed programs, where this kind of things can be followed, and these kind of practices and processes that you all have shared with us can be done, so that eventually it would lead to a lot of school transformation where everyone is a leader and is able to bring about the school transformation. Shruti, do we have any questions from YouTube viewers, from our YouTube viewers?
No, no.
Okay, so there's we have time for one more, Shruti. One more question.
Yes, we can take one more.
Okay, so do the speakers have any questions for each other, or can I ask one question? No. Okay, so I wanted to know, any one of you could answer that. In what ways can leaders balance the need for innovation with the requirements of standardized education systems? So I can also type it out. So my question was, a lot of innovation, and now with artificial intelligence and ed tech and things. So I wanted to know, in what ways can leaders balance this need for innovation and plus with the requirements of standardized education systems? So y'all are all working with standardized, like Upasna, you're working with CM Rise, Monal, y'all are working with a lot of states. Mr. Ram Prakash, you're working with Tamil Nadu 3 districts. So in what ways do you think leaders can balance this need for innovation? You all must be getting pressures that ed tech use karo, ye karo. So how are you all balancing this innovations or any other innovations? Upasna, you'd like to go first?
I can share a little bit on this, Jimana, because I have some strong feelings about some of these things.
Yeah.
One of the things, if you see over the last 10 years, what has happened is, things like 21st century skills or digital literacy or like you said, right, ed tech karo, AI karo. We keep adding more and more, looking really fragmenting the way learning happens. Learning doesn't necessarily happen कि एक period social emotional का होता है and एक period English और एक period 21st century का होता है. It's always integrated. So I think the job of a good leader in a system, whether it's a school leader or a district leader or a system leader, is to essentially see how these things can actually be integrated. FLN can happen with digital literacy. FLN can happen with 21st century. It's all about how you are able to put together the knowledge and the pedagogy. So it's a difficult task because it's hard to see the connection, but that's the task of a good leader, I think.
Okay. Anyone else would like to answer that?
Maybe I would like to add Upasna to Upasna. It's
Yes.
like you asked about innovation. Innovation for me is the byproduct of the process, the thought process that I'm having. Let's say as a school leader, if I keep child at the center in whatever the actions that I do, automatically the byproduct will be there. Is what I think, and what I have seen in most of the leaders who are doing exceptionally well in their schools and for their schools.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ram Prakash. Any closing statements by Liz and Monal, and then I think we'll have to end and hand over to Dhanashri. Anything, Miss Monal and Miss Elizabeth Mehta, any closing statements?
Yeah, no, so I would like to respond to the question that you asked.
Great.
For me, a good leader is someone who thinks of what is valuable for her child, her children, her set of students.
Absolutely.
So, you can call it innovation, or you can call it actually what is the most critical. So in today's world, if FLN is not enough and something else has to be added, it has to be added, because that is more I mean, when you add it as a holistic product, is when your child is going to benefit out of it, then that is what good leadership is. Good leadership is not about following standardized education and just following what comes down. Good leadership is about taking that step, that initiative, and saying, I'm going to look at what is the most critical for my set of children as a teacher or as a district official, and then just go for it without getting worried about मेरी सिस्टम क्या बोलेगी. सिस्टम नहीं बोलेगी कुछ अगर बच्चे का फायदा हो रहा है.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, Liz.
And I think it goes back to the very business of having a passion for your vision, and exactly what has just been said, holding on to that vision and seeing how to make it reality, and people become convinced. It takes a lot of energy, but you can convince people that this is what is right. You need the energy and the passion to do it.
Absolutely. So integration, energy and passion, belief for the children, and all these lovely thoughts have come out. And yeah, thank you so much, all of you, for being there. And over to you, Dhanashri.
Thank you, Jumana ma'am. Thank you, all of you, once again. It was an amazing experience to be here with you. It's a privilege to have so many esteemed and experts in the education system around us. I would like to say only one thing. Let's all take this webinar as a reminder for us that effective leadership is crucial for success for everyone, no matter on which kind of or which level of leadership you are. So, and I'm sure that many of us here will apply this learning to our own leadership role. So thank you once again. Thank you to the audience also, who has been very interactive in asking questions, responding. So thank you a lot. Over to Shruti for the announcement.
Thank you so much. Thank you once again to all our speakers, our host and facilitator, for conducting this session today. Thank you to all the participants for proactively interacting and engaging with us throughout. Just a couple of announcements. You can share your feedback by scanning the QR code or using the link that has been provided in the chat box, both in Zoom as well as YouTube Live. Don't worry, the recording of this webinar will be uploaded on YouTube. So in case you would like to share it or view it again, it will be available. This is the first webinar of a 3-part series. We have 2 more webinars. One in the month of February, which is on shaping learning environments where pedagogy meets excellence. And the other one in March, assessments for excellence, enhancing assessments towards fine-tuning pedagogy. The details will be shared soon, and we look forward to seeing you attend those sessions as well. You can stay connected with us. You can write to us at contact@muktanganedu.org. Please do visit our website for additional information about our work, and do follow us on social media, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel for more updates. Thank you once again, everybody, for joining this webinar.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.